Alright, so we got the TRACT TORIC, the Ultra HD. I mean, now this one you have to see it to believe it, because I mean, my first impressions of this before seeing the glasses, okay, everything is pretty much perfect, as you would typically expect in any optic around the $1,000 price. Now, this one retails for $1,300, so I'm thinking, okay, well, you better be able to offer some pretty damn good glass, and this one 100% does not disappoint.
And welcome back to Affordable Optics and Rifle Reviews. So you're in the market for a PRS type of rifle scope. You have a good amount of money saved up and you're looking to buy once and be satisfied. You don't want to have to buy one and then, think of maybe upgrading the next 2 or 3 years. And if you're looking to buy it once, this one might be the one for you. So this is the TRACT TORIC Ultra HD. So this is a 50mm objective, 30mm tube, 4-20 magnification, and a long eye relief with 65 MOA or 20 mils of internal adjustment, a zero stop, and locking turrets and illumination. I mean, this optic has it all. Now, it is at a price where you expect everything to be perfection and expect to have everything. So let's take a look at what this has. So as far as glass is concerned, we have some ED glass, so extra low dispersion, and we have some German shot glass. So this is what you see on the high-end optics. I mean, this is a mid to high-end optic, so that's what we want to see when we're looking at really nice optics. So have a look for yourselves. This is a barn at 400 meters. Now take a look at the way the rust on this kind of galvanized steel roof looks. You can really tell the fading from the rust all the way back to the galvanization. And I mean, that's something you don't see on most optics. It's not something you're able to tell with most optics. So this is just a testament of how sharp the glass is. Now take a look at this satellite dish. Now I know people stopped using these back in the 80s, but I guess my neighbors are, they're stuck in the 80s. I just have a look at the fence just a bit on the left. It's green. You can really tell how the fence is made. You can really tell a lot of details. Now that's what I want to see when I'm looking at a high-end optic, is I want to see sharpness. Additionally, this optic is very bright. Not only is it sharp, but it is also very, very bright. So at a price that this optic comes in at about $1,300 US or about 1,600 Canadian, so far this glass does exceed our expectations. So we're going to give the glass a solid 5 out of 5. Next we have the eye relief. So on even slightly more entry-level optics, or even some of the more higher-end ones, we do see a variance in eye relief. So at the lowest magnification, often they have like a 4-inch eye relief. On the lowest, it's like 3.5 or 3.3 we've even seen. On this optic, they advertise that it remains the same. So we're going to expect it to remain the same, especially at this price. So this is how far I can be at the lowest magnification. Now let's crank it up. And this is exactly how far I can be at the highest magnification. So I actually haven't moved a bit, which, I mean, at this price, my expectations are high, and so far we're not disappointed. So our fast focus eyepiece is also very smooth. You won't be disappointed whatsoever with that. Now let's have a look at how forgiving the eye box is. So the eye box is actually quite forgiving, more so than we've seen around the $1,000 mark. So for the eye relief, we are going to give this a 5 out of 5. I mean, the fact that you don't have to move your face on your cheek piece is a detail, but a detail that you only really see on higher end optics. On more entry level stuff, even at 1,000, you do have to move your cheek. Now, that is a detail. It doesn't make or break a shooter, but it is definitely something that we see on more high end optics, and that's definitely something they did with the Toric. So next we have the field of view. So let's look at the lowest magnification. So on the 4, we would have 24.5 feet in diameter at 100 yards. Okay, so that's actually quite wide. Now, if we crank it up to our 20 magnification, we have 4.9 feet at 100 yards. Now, we're kind of thinking, well, these are just numbers, and what can we compare them to? So let's look at, for example, the Vortex Strike Eagle, which is very, very popular optic. At the highest magnification of 25, it has about 5 feet at 100 yards. So it has 5 more power, and it has still about the same amount of field of view. So that would put this one a little bit lower than that. Now the Strike Eagle has a very wide field of view and is considered to be one of the widest fields of view that we've seen. So for the field of view, we are going to give it a 4 out of 5. It could have done a little bit better on the field of view. Next, we have the focus parallax. So have a look at this dial. Now this dial starts all the way as low as 25, 30, 50, 75, 100, 200, 300, 500, 800, and infinity. It is very, very well graded for the long-range shooter. So on some of the other optics we've seen around the more $1,000 price mark, and it really varies regardless of price mark, is they're not always very well graded for the long-range shooter or even the extended long-range shooter. Also, this fast focus eyepiece is super smooth, and the numbers actually do match the distances indicated. So that's something that we obviously expect at this price. We don't expect any less. So for the focus parallax, we are going to give it a 5 out of 5. Next, we have the recoil. Well, now I get to have some fun. We're going to go to 100 meters, do a group, make sure we're zeroed. Then we're going to go to 750 meters.
Alright, so we got the TRACT TORIC, the Ultra HD. I mean, now this one you have to see it to believe it, because, I mean, my first impressions of this before seeing the glasses, okay, everything is pretty much perfect, as you would typically expect in any optic around the $1,000 price. Now, this one retails for $1,300, so I'm thinking, okay, well, you better be able to offer some pretty damn good glass. And this one 100% does not disappoint. We are out here at 750 meters, and the glass is crystal clear, exactly what you expect at this price. And I mean, I'm sold on this one. Go a bit more right. Now we're pretty much 1 full mil to the right. Holy shit! We hit the 4-inch target. I really hope that camera over there is not dead, because it's cold and those batteries die real fast. But we just hit the 4-inch target. I mean, that is awesome. I've never hit that teeny tiny target out at these distances ever, guys. I mean, now that is awesome. I mean, when you hit these tiny targets, okay, I'm a little excited here. I'll calm down for you guys. Whoo! Do you think we could do it again? Have a little faith, guys. Let's do it again. And we fell short again. A little high. Yes. Oh no, I think I totally shredded that strap that's holding it on, because it's like dangling. Well, we were 100% a success today, which is awesome, which is exactly what I wanted. And yeah, so I mean, if you're looking for a fantastic optic, I mean, for PRS, this is an excellent option.
This optic obviously survived recoil. And I mean, the glass in this, I could tell every single hit on steel at that distance, which, I mean, it has ED glass, it has German shot glass. We expect very, very good resolution. We expect very high clarity and sharpness. And this is exactly what we saw. So for the recoil, we're going to give it a 5 out of 5. Next, we have the turrets. So this is your most important part of a rifle scope. Without turrets, you have a telescope. So for the elevation, we have 65 MOA or 20 milliradians of internal adjustment, because they have obviously both versions. They are locking, as you can see, and they have a 0 stop, as you can see. I'm going to show you how to install that in a minute. So what you're looking at is an optic that was designed specifically for PRS. So that's maybe why it doesn't have, 30 mils of internal adjustment or even 32, because we have seen optics around this price that have a ton of internal adjustment. Now, there's one thing that they don't do that this one does. And I'm not talking about the locking turret, which a lot of them do have. So have a look at how this optic tracks. Now this thing tracks perfectly. I mean, you're gonna see it hit every mark, and not just close on some and right on the mark on others. It hits every mark perfectly, exactly where it's supposed to be.
Let's start with the box test. Let's go 3 mils down or up. 3 mils right. Perfect. Back to 0 and back to 0. All right, let's see if there's any point of impact change with magnification. Perfect. All right, let's validate the tracking. Let's go 3 mils down. Let's go 6. Let's go 9. Let's go 12. Now let's go 15. Perfect, so that's 15 milliradians. Awesome. Let's see how much internal adjustment it has. Let's go all the way down, and that's it. And let's go all the way back to the top, and that's as high as it goes. Back to 0. Let's validate the windage. That's it. That's at 3. Let's go the other way at 3. Perfect, and all the way. And that's as far as it can go. Back at 0. Awesome. So to set your 0 stop, first thing you're going to need is to remove the turret cap. So obviously, let's say you've zeroed your rifle in this situation. So you're just going to remove the turret cap. Okay, anytime. There we go. You're going to put this collar. You're going to make sure the set screw is on the left side here, so you're able to turn it in this direction. So turn it all the way till it stops. You have another Allen key. You're going to snug up these little Allen keys. There should be 3 little Allen screws to tighten. Doesn't need to be crazy tight, just enough. That's tight enough. All right, we're going to put our turret cap back on, make sure it's zeroed. And, oh, not quite, there we go. And we're going to tighten this back up. And let's make sure we did it right. Perfect, so it turns freely and it stops exactly where it should. It's a nice hard type 0 stop.
So this thing tracked perfectly. It wasn't a little bit off, and on some, it was perfect. So on some of the optics we've seen around $1,000, most of the time they were perfect. They were off a little on one and they were back on the other, but usually not a big margin of error. On this optic, there was no margin of error that was visible from our testing. Also, it is a box test, which I mean most optics can do. So with this optic, you'll have more than enough internal adjustment to compete in PRS competitions. So 65 MOA or 20 mils. The turrets are lockable. They do have obviously arrows to tell you which way is up, and the numbers are nice and clear and visible. The dials are also pretty darn beefy. It does have a left and a right indicator on the windage turret, as you can see, and it goes in each direction. On this optic though, I mean, they really made sure every little detail was perfect, which I mean, at this price, you know, $1,300 US, I expect perfection as well. One thing of these turrets though is they're not the most positive, nor are they the most audible. Which, I mean, in my opinion, it's not really a big trade-off when you consider that this thing tracks perfectly. I mean, from what we're able to test. So the fact that you can't, let's say, hear these from about 10 feet away isn't a big deal. They are still very positive and somewhat audible, but I mean, you can really tell how fine and how sharp these clicks are. So for the turrets, we are going to give it a 4 out of 5. And now the reticle. So the reticle for the TRACT Ultra HD, you have technically 4 options. So you have a standard milling reticle, a standard MOA reticle. You have 2 PRS options, so either in MOA or in milliradians. So they really have you covered pretty much everywhere. So whatever you want, they pretty much have something for you. Now, I personally went with the PRS type reticle. I really fancy that little dot in the middle. It's really great for making, you know, for really doing some kind of bullseye shooting, really getting some really tight groups. But for PRS, I feel it is a little bit on the small side. That's really my only complaint when it comes to, well, the PRS type reticle. Also, it is illuminated. You have a 0 function between each setting. It has 11 intensity settings, I mean, as you can see. So for the reticle, we are going to give it a 5 out of 5. You have really all the options you're going to be looking for the reticle. So for the warranty, any optics in the modern day age needs a lifetime warranty. And I mean, that's exactly the case with TRACT. They have a full lifetime warranty. If you ever have any issues, you just send it in and they'll either fix it or replace it. So that's really what we expect as well. So if you're looking for a high-end optic, you want to buy once, cry once, you saved up your money, this is an excellent optic if you're looking to do just that. It has everything you're going to want: a wide magnification range, long eye relief, 65 or 20 mils of internal adjustment, really, really good glass, and it's a very bright image, and really nice turrets that track perfectly. So if this is what you're looking for, check out TRACT Optics. I'm going to leave some links in the descriptions below. If you guys enjoyed this video, consider hitting like, consider hitting subscribe, and I will see you on the next review.